Hello. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success talk show. I am your host, Rochelle Slay Queen Hemingway, and I am the CEO and founder of Slay to Success, which is a leadership and transformational consultant service business. I empower women with strategies to step up into their most authentic, memorable brand to gain lucrative opportunities. As well as we know, y'all, I am an author, as a professional keynote speaker, an image consultant, and a personal brand expert. And while that is a lot, I know that most of you know that I am a United States Air Force veteran. Huh? And so tonight, y'all, we are for a treat. We are going to have an amazing, slayamazing conversation, as I say. And so get yourself ready. If you need your tea, you know I have mine. I always do every show. Or the beverage of your choice, whatever that is. Please, all right, go get that now because you do not want to miss anything. All right. So, the purpose of this talk show is to highlight men and women who are using life and leadership philosophies, aka the SLAY life and leadership philosophies, to positively impact the world. And what does slay mean? It means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym. S, stay ready, be ready. L, lead out loud. A, a sense of community. And Y, you are built to last. So if you are here tonight, y'all, please make sure that you let me know that you're dropping in on the live. We want to acknowledge you, especially because you have a million and one places to be, and you decided that you wanted to share your time with us here on this live session. So don't be shy. Go ahead and put in the comments your name and where you're tuning in from, and I'll be making sure that we give you the proper shout out that you need. So thank you so much, y'all, for being here tonight. So we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping. You know how I am. I like to get these announcements out so that anyone who's like, I don't know what's going on. Well, I'm going to share with you all the things that Slay to Success is doing. So, first of all, y'all, we have your Elevate Your Presence Next Level seminar. This is virtual on April 23rd at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And this is where we are going to really sit into how we step into our power and own the room. All right. Elevate Your Presence is where we're going to take you from your appearance, behaviors, communication, and your digital presence. We're going to make sure that you have the strategies that you need to increase your visibility and to improve your confidence, but more importantly, to gain lucrative opportunities. Because if you are in your next chapter or you're trying to go for a career advancement, this is the webinar that you need to be in. How do you find out more information? You go to www.slaytosuccess.com. All right. So we want to make sure that you see that. Hey, Tia. Thank you so much. I will flash you out here in a little bit after I get done with the slides. So thank you so much for tuning in from Northwest Florida with us tonight. All right. So we also know that we have a sponsorship program. Yes, because this is the feedback that I'm getting is we need more exposure on our business. Well, I am your mouthpiece. Okay, let me market your products, programs, or services on this show. And what that can look like, it can look like a lot of different things: name, logo, flyer, video, all the things. If you're interested, you can also find me at, that's right, www.slaytosuccess.com. And just let me know what is it that you're looking for, and I will highlight. And what it will look like is, and tonight's Slay to Success talk show episode is sponsored by, and you plug your name in, your business, and all the products that you have. All right. So that is another opportunity for you to engage with Slay to Success. And lastly, all right, because I know that there is a need all right, to be more inspired, right? You need a kickstart for your week. We come here on Sunday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. However.com, I know that during the week, we may be feeling a little bit, but guess what? You have me, right? We're going to start on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is going to be the Rise and Slay talk show. All right. And this is where I help you to kind of get through over the hump at the beginning of the week, if you will, and just bring you a little bit more cheer because we can. Okay. And so thank you so much for your attentions to the events that are happening here soon. All right, everyone here. So, okay, we're going to shout you out. Talisha is tuning in from Northwest Florida. So, thank you so much. And she's tuning in from LinkedIn. And you know, we are on 3 platforms, y'all: Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So tonight's guest, y'all, okay, is Dr. Rhonda Beckwith. She is a 26-year retired Air Force veteran, a licensed clinical therapist, life coach, influential public speaker, and Amazon best-selling author who is dedicated to empowering women with a focus on helping women struggling with low self-esteem and navigating the complexities of work-life balance. Dr. Beckwith aims to support individuals in realizing their true potential. By addressing the self imposed obstacles that hinder personal growth and success, she guides women on a journey of self discovery and empowerment. Through her expertise and guidance, Dr. Beckwith equips women with the strategies and tools needed to break free from self limiting beliefs, set achievable goals, and create a life of fulfillment and success. I want y'all to welcome my Air Force in arms, because we are sister in arms and we will share how that we are connected. But my sister in arms and my friend, Dr. Rhonda Beckwith. Hey, Queen.
Hello, everyone. Hey, how
Hey,
are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I am just excited to be here. Oh my goodness. I mean, it's just amazing where we've come from to where we are and where we're going. So I am definitely excited to be here, and it's always good to see you.
Yes, it's so good to see you. So, okay, audience, we go way back. Okay, me and Rhonda go back.
Way back.
Um, I don't know how many years it's been, but it's been some years. And so when I found out that we were coming here, Rhonda reached out. We connected, reconnected, had lunch. We've had lunch several times. Okay. And we are both on the same quest, right? And so it is so good to see you in your element and to really put yourself out there. And we're going to talk about all the things. So, first, tell the audience a little bit about your military journey, and then we'll kind of walk forward to where we're at today.
That's a very interesting opportunity to talk about that military journey because I started my military journey just as a way of escaping and then getting myself grounded because, like so many
Mhm.
other people, I was in doing one thing and then I decided to do something else. And so I used to work at a military facility when I was in high school. That was my job. And it was just so funny. I would see the people there, interact with them, et cetera. I'm like, I'm not going to join the military. And then thought about ROTC for a minute. No, I'm not going to do ROTC either. And so it's amazing how sometimes when you think that you're not going to do something, how that all turns around. And for me, that turned
Mhm.
around when I was in college and doing things that I probably wasn't supposed to be doing. And I know that I needed to get restructured. And so I said, I'm going to join the military for 4 years. That's it, just 4 years. And then I will have accomplished my goals. I will have my master's degree. I'm out. I'm doing it. 4 years turned into 8. I ended up going to Germany, and 8 turned into 12. And if you know anything about military or anything like that, once you're over 10, it's a wrap. So I ended up
It
staying
is.
and going out to the 26 years. But I will just say in that course of the 26 years, which we may get a chance to talk about a little bit or not, but nevertheless, in that time frame, different things happen. And as you all know, that sometimes life will throw you a curveball. And when life throws you a curveball, what do you do? Do you catch it?
Mhm.
You dodge it, or what do you do with it? And sometimes we do all of those things, and then we just still have to regroup. And so that's kind of what my military journey was like. And in that course of that journey, we run into some fantastic people who end up being friends for life, sisters for life, etc. So that's how Rochelle and I still are connected, because we are sister in arms and sisters for life.
Yeah, and I love it because you're here, and we we are doing a lot of different things, but in the same vein. And
Yes.
when we talk about empowerment, women's empowerment, which we are very passionate about, we could be spending hours, if you will, all right, talking about this subject. So where in your journey did you start to realize that this was something that you wanted to start doing? Was it recently, or had you been thinking about it for a while?
Going back and forth again, it's a little bit hard, but being a woman and going through a lot of the things that we go through, and I've heard a myriad of stories of people of having adversity, etc. And especially, with especially I think it started for me hearing the stories, Desert Shield, Desert Storm, females going over and then trying to figure out whether or not if we were going to be put on the front line, and just all of the different things that we actually go through in terms of saying, see me, hear me, I'm right here.
Right,
I have more than all of this. I have a brain. I
right.
can I can be a part of a team. I can be a bigger part of this organization if I'm allowed. So then how do you get your ticket to the dance? How do you make your space into the room? And so after I retired from the military, kept going back and forth in terms of what I wanted to do. I knew that I needed to finish getting, or because that was part of my goal plan, and that is to finish getting my doctorate in clinical psychology. Did that, and then what I started to notice when I would have the one-on-one sessions with clients, I
Mhm.
noticed that they really didn't really need a diagnosis necessarily, but they
Yeah.
needed more of a cheerleader. They needed a roadmap. And so in that
Mhm.
roadmap, I decided at that point, you know what? I think I can best serve women by being a coach as opposed to just a one-on-one. Now, I haven't stopped doing one-on-ones because I still do those, because there are some people who really actually need that. But by and
Yeah.
large, I decided that coaching, I could do one to many as opposed to just one to one, and reach more people, because community
Yeah.
is everything.
Yeah, it really is. And I think the need to do that is there's so much opportunity to do that, just based on all the things that have happened in the world that women have been affected by, like truly been affected
Yes.
by. Right. And I don't know if there is conversations of other people having the conversations, but I know in the circles that I'm having, the conversation about, caregiving and putting others before ourselves and not
Absolutely.
living up to society norms, based on what we're supposed to be looking like. And there's ageism, there's sexism, there's all these isms that are out
Exactly.
there. And so, how do we move through these and still show up in the best version of ourselves? you know?
Precisely. And I tell you another thing that was really very interesting for me when I was working, trying to decide what I wanted to do my dissertation on. I
Yeah.
decided to do it on postpartum depression. And part of that for me, in terms of wanting to do that, was I worked in the laboratory. That was my job in the military. And then also a first sergeant, the rest of the story,
Yeah.
and working in the leadership schools. And so again, here we are with women going through so much and still having to perform. And
Yeah.
so in that, a lot of women will suffer in silence and not say anything because they don't want to look like the weakest link. And then some of the jobs, if they are top security, have top security clearances, etc.,
Hmm.
then of course saying something, being, acknowledging that something's not quite right, would put them in a different space, and or put them on a list. And if you
Yep.
get put on that list, sometimes you lose your job, you could lose your security clearance. So people would suffer in silence. And postpartum depression is a real thing. And people do go through it. Yes, you can get the depression piece of it, but postpartum is really real. And so that was part of what stimulated me to start working on, women's situations as well because of the challenges. And we just
Yeah.
go through it. And at some particular point, we have to say, you know what? I can sit back, I
Hmm.
can be comfortable, and or I can tend to me because you
Yeah.
can't pour from an empty glass.
Yeah.
So we
You
need
know
to
what?
refill.
That subject, I'm sorry, Rhonda, that
Oh,
subject
no,
is really something that, um, and I'll be personal about my experience because I had AJ at the age of 37. Like my life had already been set up in a certain way. I had a routine, right? I knew what to expect.
I got
I
you. I had
had
my daughter at 38.
Yeah, when we have babies
Yeah, the
later
one
in
and
life,
done.
we're not saying that
Exactly.
that's the only ages that has postpartum because it's a range of ages. But I noticed
Correct.
that I went down a little bit, and I had in my mind that I lost my edge. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the military,
It's a
I'm supposed to
hormonal,
be within a
it's a
certain
hormonal
image.
shift.
And,
Yeah.
everything that I knew before I had them now, I have to try to get back to that. And then the reality set in that my body just ain't the right, it's not set up the way that it was before. And
Hello.
there's pressure. There's pressure on you, So Tia said, oh God, this is such a great topic. And also saying very real. I went through a personal experience with postpartum depression.
Mhm.
So thank you everyone for being here live. I know we got several people who's popped in. So Chevy, Leslie, Cameron, thank you so much for being here tonight with us live. Joey, we see you. Okay. So I appreciate you being here. So yeah, so I think more and more that we need to like put this stuff out there and not having the thoughts that people have to do it all alone and feel isolated, you know?
And or hiding. And and part of that hiding too, we start thinking about, what people go through. Hence now we have this big topic of the imposter syndrome. How many
Ah,
people are really imposters? I know that for me, being completely transparent, I had to really look at myself when I, started. So of course, obviously you had mentioned already that I was an author. When I started writing the book, A Comprehensive Guide to Elevating Self-Esteem, I
mhm.
looked at that and I said, okay, what is going to be my motivation and my driving point for that as well? And of course, people sometimes look at you, look at me, look at other people and say, they got it all together. They have it going on. But what was the cost of having it going on? And you
Yeah.
didn't always have it going on. So what did
No.
you have to do to make that happen? And so
Mhm.
hence the imposter syndrome. So we go through that because we want to show up and present well. But
Yeah.
sometimes inside we are hurting, we are suffering in silence. And so we need to step back and again, do a self evaluation. And part of that self evaluation says, you know what? I can just be me. Why can't I
Mhm.
just be me and be okay with that and be accepted? Where's
Yeah.
my self worth? Where's my value? And
Yeah.
so part of that comes with that. And we just need to regroup and just realize that it's okay just to be.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So the book, if you will, is it stemmed from personal experience, or did it stem from a collective of stories of other women? Where did you like see the need for the book to actually become a fruition?
well, I thought about it for a moment a long time ago in a land far away. And then, of course, we procrastination is our best friend or not. And so, in that, again, doing the one on one counseling sessions, people would come, and some of the time they would mention not feeling like they were seen, not feeling like they were heard, going into work and not feeling like they could actually put out what their ideas and their thoughts were. And so looking at then what was the crux, what was the core? And a lot of times it was because their self-esteem somewhere in their course or their journey of life was rocked by something or
And what
someone
are
or a
what was the
combination of
some
those.
things? Yeah. So let's get to that. All right. What are the some things that you have heard in your experience?
A lot
What
of
are
times
they
is
saying?
a lot of times it's trauma. And it's not, and see, sometimes when people say trauma, they automatically go to sexual trauma. And it's not always sexual trauma, even though that is a really big genre of people who have gone through that. But trauma could mean a myriad of things. Something as simple as someone telling you that you're not good enough for something.
Mm,
Someone telling you that you will not amount to anything. Or your mother did it, your father did it, so I'm expecting you to do it, without somewhere in that line breaking that cycle. And so if you feel like you are on that same trajectory, then maybe perhaps for you, that's where your self-esteem was stopped. It was arrested.
mhm.
And so again, where do we go from here? And so
Yeah.
those things that actually stop you in your tracks messes with your self-esteem, messes with your self-worth, messes with your self-confidence, and then you're stuck. And if you're stuck, you can't move forward.
Yeah.
So
So
how do
what
we
in
how do we
your
move?
yeah, what is your definition, if you will, of self-confidence, self-esteem? Like what is it that you in your lens and the line of work that you've done in your research, what would you say that looks like? You know what I mean?
Hmm. Well, self-esteem, it looks like when you're looking at your own self-worth and your value and your capabilities. How do you view yourself? What do you value? And so obviously your values may be different from my values. So therefore, looking at what is that for me? What are my capabilities? What can I actually do? And so if you again show up in a space and you don't feel like you can do certain things because someone else, not you, have told you that you couldn't, then you may then feel like you cannot do that. So it involves feeling confident. That's what, when you have a good, strong self-esteem, you feel confident, you feel competent, and you feel like you're deserving of that
Mm.
respect and that love. And that's where I look at, the self-esteem piece of that coming in at.
Yeah.
So,
And you mentioned the competence. I think that is so important to say because we know what we're talking about. All right.
oh
I'm just
yeah,
saying
oh
that
yeah,
right now, right? We have all the things
yeah,
in here. We have gotten the experience, the expertise, and the skills to make it happen. What happens is, like you said, something, somebody, some situation happens where it just all of a sudden stops you from believing in yourself and trusting in yourself, right? So we
yeah,
have a lot of people here that have comments, so look, y'all just be in here with these comments. So we're just going to have to go through each one of them again. So that way we can, put them up here and kind of analyze them for a second. So Glenroy, thank you so much for being here tonight with us. There's always a narrative that is unfolding beneath the beautiful veneers that we live within, which
absolutely.
is true. Absolutely. And he's also saying people see the results, but they don't know the story behind that, right? People who are doing
Correct.
the inner work, and they are showing up to the best version. I call it the invisible work. People don't
Yeah,
see it, right? They think that
right.
things are had just you wake up flawless like Beyonce, and it's like no, there's a lot of things that go into showing up. And then
Yes.
Leslie says her self-esteem was in the toilet. She had trauma because of her dark complexion. She was not worthy of love, thought that she wasn't worthy
Yeah,
of love. Trauma is an ambiguous bully to everyone. And then she said
yeah,
she believed that for decades, of thinking
absolutely.
that that's, because, you're darker skinned and complexion that you're not worthy of anything else. So
Yeah.
Tia, Dr. Watts, I got all the doctors in the house. Doctor, okay.
Doctors in the house.
Dr. Watts says, how do you gain your confidence back? So that's a question for you, Rhonda.
Mhm. So in terms of looking at how you gain that back, it's it's time. And then it's also looking at where you are, where you want to be, and looking at the things that you're doing. And so that if you know that you are turning in a good product or you're being the best you that you can possibly be, and you know that the things that you're doing is the right thing to do, and then also following that up with the positive affirmations, that goes a long way into building that self-confidence. Because when you're doing those affirmations, and I'm not just saying get up in the morning, I'm beautiful, I'm great, do you really believe that? what's
Yeah.
what's really in there saying you are beautiful and you're great? What makes you that way? So you have to really believe what it is that you're saying, because they're not just words. And so I hear that thrown around a lot about the affirmations. I did my affirmations today. Okay, you did
Yeah.
those, but did you
Yeah.
believe them? Are
Yeah.
you walking in that? And so you have to be able to walk in that space and say, yes, that is what I'm doing. And that is really what I'm feeling. So that starts to begin to build that confidence. And then it's baby steps, it's little bitty things that actually
Mhm.
go a long way in terms of helping to rebuild your confidence. And then when someone, and this is one that I found that was very, very interesting. I have different clients, and it's interesting. I have one person in particular that someone would say, and maybe somebody out there resonates with this one as well. Oh, wow, your hair looks beautiful. Yeah, but what you're wearing today looks really good. Yeah, but. So if you're walking in that, yeah, but, why not receive what it is that someone's given you? Because what they're
Mm.
seeing is what they're seeing. And so then begin to believe that. So it takes a lot of inner work to build back up that confidence. And then you know that then it takes whatever those small wins are. You don't have to have a real big win. Small wins ends up being big wins. So take all of the small wins, believe in yourself, and then take what people are giving you on the positive side to be a good thing. And if someone is giving you the negative energy, because you know you're going to get it, regardless of who you are, you're going to get negative energy. When you get that, you step back and ask yourself, is this really true?
Yeah.
And where's the source? Who is the source of information? And if you
Mm.
already know that this person probably is not the best source of information, then
Yeah.
remove yourself from that circle of people that are putting out the negative energy and move yourself into a positive arena. And that helps to build your self confidence.
Yeah. I love every bit of what you shared. Absolutely loved it because, you know, the struggles, I would say there's struggles and there's challenges with that,
Mhm.
is sometimes we put the baby steps in, right? And we don't see anything, right? We don't see it in action. And so we either stop or we
Mhm.
find other ways to get your confidence back, which are not really working, right? And so, understanding that this is a process, it's a journey, if you
It
will.
is.
Um, and really finding the things that will help you to gain the confidence back and doing that on repeat. So you mentioned, the fact that matter of one of the things that um, we were talking about in conversation with the Mosaic Inc. Nation on Clubhouse. We were talking about compliments. Some people can't take compliments very well, right? When
Exactly.
you say, but someone
Yeah,
said, "Oh,
but.
you look really nice," but oh no, I forgot to do whatever,
Yeah,
right? Did forgot to put
exactly.
lipstick on, or forgot to put my eyebrows on, or whatever the
Oh, this
case
old
may
dress.
be.
Oh, this old dress. This is old. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. Yeah, but.
yeah, yeah. And so, and we do that. I mean, and there's a lot of conditioned
Mhm.
things, especially as women. We talked about this too. When we're young, we're taught to be quiet, to be modest, to, like be really nice and sweet. Right. So
Mhm.
don't say anything that's going to, attract attention to yourself. And we get into that whole mindset. That's why I'm so big on positive mindset, to really understand who you are and really step into it. And when you talk about baby steps, I love that. So I do have one comment here, Rhonda. I've got Glenroy, and this is for Leslie.
Mhm.
He says, Leslie, darker skin means that you are rich in a substance that people want to have, but only temporarily. I encourage you to embrace and to continue to embrace the power that God has wrapped you in.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Man, that was beautiful. Thank you, Glenroy, for sharing that. Um, and
Exactly.
so,
Well,
huh?
I was going to say, you know what else is interesting for Glenroy? That's interesting is that I have a poster that's downstairs that I love looking at. This poster. It's downstairs in the basement. And I look at it every day almost. And so and they have a version of it for men now. But anyway, there's three women on it, and there's different shades of color, and it says black is black is black, and
Mm,
it's all beautiful. And
yeah,
that's the beauty of it all. So again, Who are we? What are we looking at? What are we saying to ourselves? Because again, you will get some naysayers out there who will tell you almost anything. And as a child, you may not have your defenses up, which then, you grow into that as an adult. And then again, you still start giving people discounts for you.
Yeah.
And so we
Yeah.
don't want to give people discounts. Absolutely
No,
not. You are brilliant. You are worthy, all of those things. And so that's what you have to walk in, believe in, regardless of if you're dark, if you're light, if you're in the middle, or whatever that is. That does not define who you are. That's a color that you can't do anything about.
that's right. And I know that a lot of people are being encouraged by that. Even Clara here, she's saying, great insight, Dr. Beckwith, acknowledging the baby step improvement is important and ability to receive the good without the buts,
Mhm.
right? And even, Leslie's here. It took her years to celebrate my black. I walk in all my blackest.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So I know that we're talking about empowerment, we're talking about confidence building, really getting into making ourselves feel better about ourselves and our situations that we're in. And so if there is someone struggling, like right now, you talk about baby steps, right? um what is your take then on, because you're a clinical psychologist, right?
Correct.
What is your take on getting therapy? Okay, because some of this inner work, if you will, that people try to do on their own may not be working, or not be might not be as effective as they would like. And there's some hesitation, if you will, for people to
Mhm.
go and get professional help. So, because you are in the field, please share with us, um, what are the symptoms? What are kind of the things that people should be aware of when they should seek professional help?
That is an absolutely good question. And part of that is people should seek therapy, first of all, when they feel like they should. That's number one. They should want to do that. It should not come from, you know what, girl, you should get some therapy. No, 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 no. That should come from when you feel like you've exhausted everything that you could or can, and you're not moving. That's you should actually seek therapy then. And or if you feel like you need a little bit more insight or some more coping strategies or some more tools if you feel like you are stuck. And also, sometimes people don't realize this one either, that if you are not feeling your best more often than not because of one reason or another, and oftentimes I don't like necessarily jump into a label and saying, oh, you're depressed or you're suffering from anxiety and all these different things. But if you're not feeling your level best at least
Hmm.
80% of the time, because we're all going to have down days. I mean, let's
Right.
face it, everybody
Hmm.
has a down day. But if most of
Hmm.
your days are down days, then that sounds like that is an opportunity then for you to actually seek a therapist. And I will say this, that if you decide to seek therapy, make sure it's somebody that you connect with, because you
Yeah.
can't just go see anybody, because sometimes that just does not work. And okay, I am a therapist. And guess what? I also have therapy because I need to get my things out as well and be able to unleash and unload, etc. So there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And that's one thing I will say. COVID changed the dynamics of a lot of things. A lot
Hmm.
of people were going about their daily lives. And when COVID happened and people were staying at home all the time, there were so many people that started drinking, they started doing drugs, they started doing a whole lot of other things. I mean, and then suicide rates went up, etc. And so people started realizing then there is a need for therapists. And I'm telling you now, looking for a therapist is very, very, very difficult because everybody is filled up to the brim.
Hmm.
So that just means right now that people are looking at their mental health and realizing that, you know what, there is some work that I could actually do. So if you get to that point again of thinking that I can't make it through the day, or I that I am actually running into brick walls, etc., and or
Yeah.
I'm not feeling good about myself and I'm not accepting myself, I'm not loving myself, or I don't feel like I'm worthy of love, and that is your common modus of operandi, it
Yeah.
might be a good opportunity then to think about seeking out therapy.
Yeah.
And there's nothing
I
wrong with having a therapist just on tap anyway, just because sometimes we can talk to family members. And guess what? You might hear that conversation again. So if you want the confidentiality, you might want to have your own therapist so you can get out whatever you want to get out, because there's only three reasons why we would have to even remotely say anything at all. And so,
Yeah,
yeah,
right. I'm just saying, you talk about like, you be talking to your family members, and you get
it
nowhere.
is.
Okay, so
Exactly.
let's be smart, all right, about what we share and who we sharing it with. So, first of all, okay, um, so Dr. Watts is got a statement here that I want to show everyone as well. I feel like it's really rough sometimes navigating spaces due to trauma and life. I want to be invisible and shrink and working on showing up for myself. So, this again is a subject we both go in heavy. All right. So I'll
Mhm.
give it to you first. Okay. So that way you can give her some insight as to how do we improve that, because this happens for us too. There's so many of us who are like, oh my gosh, we're in a different space, different people, don't know anybody. Now it's just, I'm just gonna go into my little hermit here and hope nobody sees me. So what advice would you give to Dr. Watts?
I would say that if you are really kind of shrinking back, and it kind of boils down to what are you shrinking back from, and then why that is. And if it's due to trauma, then I would say that that might be a good opportunity then to investigate what that trauma is, because then that trauma is keeping you from actually being your very best self, because you want to shrink back as opposed to standing up and being seen, because you're even though you're trying to be invisible, you're still visible. And so what is it that you're bringing to the table? And if you want to bring something to the table, which I'm sure you have a lot to bring, don't know what that is, but I'm sure that you have a lot to bring, then
Yeah.
then that then would be that opportunity of saying, let me revisit, let me go through this trauma so that I can go through this trauma information, go through it, get rid of it so that it doesn't continue to be luggage. Because sometimes we have luggage that we need to get rid of, and or
Mm-hmm.
dead weight. That trauma is dead weight, because we cannot allow the trauma to continue to weigh us down and or be our best friend. That's
Yeah.
not the thing to do. So being able to address what it is so that you can finally get rid of it. And I know that sometimes going back to revisit trauma is not always the easiest thing on the planet, because again, when I had to be real with myself and look at this woman in the mirror and say, who am I?
Mm-hmm.
That was hard. That was really, really hard, because people see so many other things. And so looking at yourself and saying, all right, let me address what these things are. And just because I've gone through trauma, it doesn't mean that I'm damaged goods. That means whatever that trauma was is what it was, but that doesn't define me. So
Yeah.
I have to love me and realize I got to get rid of that trauma because it is dead weight.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
addressing that is one of the first things that you do. And then once you start addressing that, then you're able to then not want to shrink, but you want to stand up and be proud of the person that you are, because you are who you are. And so you have
Mm-hmm.
to be proud of you, because if you're looking for other people to validate, sometimes that doesn't happen. So you have to do that self validation and be proud of yourself.
Yeah. I love that
Worthy.
too. Because, like you said, revisiting is a hard thing to do. But once you get through that, here's where my take is. I'm at a point in my life where I don't want my voice to be muted. All right. I don't want
Seen and heard.
exactly. I don't want to go into a space and just be there. All right. I don't want to just be another cog, if you will, another check mark. Um,
Mhm.
there is so much that we have gone through, experiences, different places with different environments, we had to figure out different options. Okay. And now it's the time to use that and showcase that. All right. Showcase that even more. So you know what you're supposed to be doing. You know where you're supposed to go. You just start moving into that direction and don't allow anyone, okay, regardless of who it is, to tell you any different. And I think that's a process that, we're a little bit older, I would say seasoned, but we're a little bit
Mature, a
older,
little more mature.
mature, you know what I mean? But we've gone there and been through that. And sometimes it is harder. But, as you get a little bit old, a wiser, I say wiser, you understand it isn't important for you to be counted, okay, to be in the group of individuals as the leaders that we are. This show really centers around leadership, wellness, mindset, and personal branding. So tonight we're really talking about all these different elements when we're
Mhm.
talking about self-confidence, because self-confidence is the thing, if you will, that takes you and moves you to do all the different things that you're trying to do. And you don't want anything hindering or holding you back. All right. So that's why we're spending a lot more time talking this through. Um, and then, of course, Glenroy says therapy there at peace. Your therapist should be a safe and peaceful space for you to talk through things and pick up tools for your continuous building of yourself. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so as you started your business, all right, because we're gonna talk a little bit about business too, Rhonda. All right, if
All right.
that's okay with you. Because
Absolutely.
we both have in our title CEOs, okay? All right, so that means we chief executive officers, or in my case, I said chief encouragement officer. All right, whatever that is, right? And so
Enrichment, empowerment. I don't know,
yeah,
pick one.
it could be anything nowadays, right? And so your journey in building your business, starting business, because we have some entrepreneurs that are here that are going to come back and listen. Kind of what have you been finding as you've been venturing out? What are some of the things that you've learned? What are some things that you had to learn through failure? I mean, I think it's important for people to understand that there is this process that a lot of times we don't stop and talk about. So, what's your journey been?
Wow, my journey. Well, one of the things that I will say is that for me, getting in my own way, and what I mean by
Mhm.
getting in my own way is looking at things looking at things from the perspective of they have to be perfect. And they really
Yeah.
don't have to be perfect. They just have to be done. And if you have a made up mind and you are persistent, then you can actually get those things done. And that's why I'm actually going to start a coaching, I'm starting the coaching program that I'm going to be doing, I'm getting the courses solidified right now so that I can start that coaching program starting in June. And it is going to be a 6-month program working on self-esteem and navigating through work-life balance. And so again, getting out of your way, getting out of your head, not overthinking are ways that then you can actually do those things as an entrepreneur. So regardless of whatever the business is that you want to do, and then also remembering just because you're doing it, somebody else may be doing it, but guess what? Nobody's going to do it like you're going to do it because everybody has a story. And so
Yeah.
whatever story or whatever that is that you're bringing to the table is what you're bringing to the table. So another thing is not comparing yourself with anyone else because you are uniquely who you are, and what it is that you are proposed to do, that's what you are
Yeah.
proposed to do because we're all individual and uniquely made. So whatever you're planning to do it. Do not
Yeah.
allow anything else to stop you. And if you feel like you're trying to be perfect, it doesn't work because there's no such thing as perfect. And I'm finding that out. And so a lot of times perfect means you're stalling. And so if you're
Mm.
stalling, guess what? That means time is moving, and time is something that you can never ever get back. There's no refund on it. So whatever it is that you want to do, if that's what's in your heart to do, make it happen. And
Yeah.
then seek out other people that are doing it. And then you just try to then work with them to get yourself in that space. Because I look at a lot of things that are on Facebook. I like a lot of things that are on LinkedIn. Like you look at the TikToks, the YouTubes, and like, oh my God, how did they do all those things? And then, okay, let me try to do this. Next thing you know, a month has gone by, 2 months have gone by. So again, whatever it is that you want to do, get started with that in the interest. To me, it would be really prudent to get a mentor if you possibly can to actually do that. So,
Yeah. I agree. There are so many
oh
blueprints, if
God,
you will, that people have, right?
accessory.
Yeah, then you
Yes.
be like, okay, I'm just going step. one, step two, step three, step four. And because of who you are and the way you're wired, okay, because some of us are wired to be very analytical and we on the data, we like the insights. Some of us like to be the front face of the business. And so we understand what that looks like. So you have to understand how you're wired. All right. And then I love the fact of the matter if you like you went in and you were talking about the perfect means you're stalling because you have to get out there and just try it. That is the only
And
way
mess it
that
up
you
if you
know.
need to. Yeah,
Right.
because
You
nothing's
just do
permanent.
it. It's not.
Just start all over.
It's
Yeah.
not. And that this is the creative, the creative side that I found in myself as well. Like I'll do something, right? And I'll look and I'll, okay, that's not working. Okay, let me shift over here. And I get to do this as many times as I would like to. All right. Because guess what?
Mhm.
It's my business and it's your business, right? So if whatever
Yep.
you doing in your business, is your
You
business.
have to make it work for you. Yeah.
Yeah, and so, and I love the fact he said time, okay, of just waiting and for that perfect moment or that perfect idea to come around. And if we for too long, you just won't have it in you. You just won't have it in you to do it. So,
Mhm.
that's why we kind of threw ourselves in and going through the, challenges, if you will. I don't even call them challenges. I'm like, these are things that I'm learning, right? How many skills have you
Absolutely.
learned, Rhonda, since you started your business? Like, I don't know how many skills, but
I have surprised myself actually, and and then I'm still surprising myself because I like to say that every day is a school day. So there's something to be learned every day. And so since I'm going
I
in with an
love that.
open mind and an open heart, it's like I'm ready. So whatever
Yeah,
gets thrown there, you look at it, you take it for what it's worth, and you say, okay, what can I learn from this particular thing that's going on?
right.
And there you go.
There you go. Yeah. So
There
we've
you go.
got
So step
a
out there on faith and just do
yeah.
it. And again, there's nothing permanent. So if it doesn't work right, guess what? You back it back up, and guess what? You start again at number one if you need to, and or like we used to say in problem solving, when you're brainstorming, you have all those ideas out there. If idea number one and two and three didn't work, oops, you might have to go to five, six, or seven because you have all
Yeah.
those ideas out there. Nothing's
Yeah.
permanent, and you have different options.
Yeah.
So consider those options.
Yeah. But I do want to say one thing is to make sure you're very passionate about what you're doing. All right?
Absolutely.
Cuz you need fuel. You need something to get you up every day about and be excited about your business.
Mhm.
Because I know a lot of people who are doing things that they do not care to do. It's only generating revenue and okay, that's fine
Right.
if
It's a
that's your
job, but not a
goal.
passion.
Right, that's your if that's your job, but sometimes when we have to look at what we're doing and when we're again in our next chapter or our next beginning or our next journey is looking at things that are a little bit more to our heart, that we can positively, because I'm encouraging people, positively impact the world in which we live in. Glenroy, okay, because he's always like he shows up. Okay, when he's showing up, y'all, he
Hello.
show up. He said, "Doc," okay, because he's calling you doctor. All right, you are on here giving a word this evening. The way people compare themselves to others is too common. I don't want to be like anyone else because God made me me. Nothing wrong with an appreciative study, but we all have the authenticity within us to make a project, a product, or process our very own.
Own it.
Oh,
Own
I
it.
just, that
Own
ownership,
it.
of what you have and what you're supposed to be doing with it. You're supposed to
Hmm.
be using it for the greater good, right?
Yeah. And so and that just reminds me of that remember that book, What is My Purpose, or Looking for Your Purpose. Well, looking at your when you start thinking about purpose and everything else, what is your why? Why do you want to do
Yeah.
something? why
Yeah.
why does that bring you joy, or why would that bring you joy? So if you can complete your why, that is your purpose, or that is what would bring you to the sense of feeling like you have fulfilled something.
Yeah.
So
And I
you
I
are
even go a
definitely
little bit further. I have a whole list of whys. I call it the arsenal of whys Because if the first why ain't getting it for that day, I go to the next why. I mean, because every day is different. Every day
Mhm.
something's happening around you. Not every day is the same, if you will, right? And so sometimes your mood changes. Sometimes the strategies that you have built in, they're not working, or they you thought they were going to be great at one point, but now
What
they're
are those
not.
options? Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, like, have those
Mhm.
arsenal of why you're doing what you are doing. There should be several of them, because
Mhm.
this is not for the faint of heart. If you are a CEO of anything, it is not for the faint of heart. All right. So you're gonna have days where you're gonna feel like, oh my gosh, I've tried everything and nothing's working. All right. And so go back to that why as to why you started it. And Leslie loves your quote. I love it. Every day is a school day. And
Yeah.
all right. Clara says getting a mentor coach like Dr. B, or getting into a group to improve skills in business. Yes, absolutely. And I
Yes.
think that is so important. And ask questions. I think that people have a tendency to hold back and asking questions because they feel like they're intruding, or that they should already know it. Believe in me, I don't know half of the things I don't know.
Yep.
It's just,
Yep. That's
you
why we
know
can actually learn something. And so I do
yeah,
like what, I do like what Clara said, out there in terms of getting into groups. And that's why I said I was starting a coaching program in June. And
yeah,
in that coaching program, there will be the courses as well as community, because
yeah,
community is important. And so that's a part of that group process as well. And I will be doing a webinar, and I will have that information out there in terms of when, of how people can actually sign up, and or they can actually go on my website, which is www boldlyempoweredcoaching.com. And so I'm sure, Rochelle, you'll put that information that's out there. And so, yeah, so there's lots of different ways that people can actually get involved and making sure that they actually have community and connectivity so that they are not trudging forth alone. And
hmm
so that's important.
yeah. So, okay, so we're in the DMV area, y'all. So, me and Rhonda,
Not the Department of Motor Vehicle.
not the Department of Motor Vehicles, talking about District of
Well, I'll tell you
Columbia,
how I got food.
Maryland, and Virginia. Okay. All
Yes.
right. And so as you've been here for a minute. Okay. You've been here a
Yes.
little bit longer than I have, for sure. Um, so comparatively speaking, when we're out and about, right, and we're sharing our business, what is it that people kind of respond to you when you tell them this is what you do? What is it, the oh, uh-huh, or is it what is the reaction that you've received, if any? Because I don't know. I've received some things, but what have you received?
I think it's been a mixture. And most of
Yeah,
the time, I find that people have been intrigued and wanting to
yeah,
know a little bit more about that. And so that's why I know that my why, in terms of why I'm going to do this, is important. And that is what's fueling and propelling me to continue on. Because trust and believe, for anybody that's out there who started any kind of business, you know that there's days that you want to just say, forget this, I don't need this. But
yep,
when I've said before, forget this, and then I'll get someone else who says that they are inspired by something that I've said or something that I've done, then I know that this is my purpose, this is my calling, and this is what I'm supposed to do. And this is when I do that, and people are asking about the business and what it is that you do. I've heard so many people say, you know what? My daughter needs that, or I need that. And so if I hear that people are saying that they need it and they want it, and then especially after I wrote the book, and I've gotten quite a few good reviews back with that, because in there's a reflective piece in there. And so again, if people are telling me, you know what, I like what you've written, and that is something that I needed to hear, something I needed to do, and I'm sharing,
right,
then I know that, again, you're always going to get someone who may say, that's not for me, or give you give you the look or the face like, oh yeah, thanks. You'll get those, but you cannot allow that to stop you in your track from what it is that you want to do. So
yeah,
I get the mixed reviews, but mostly they're positive reviews. And so
yeah.
I'm glad about that.
Yeah, and I think that was what we mostly get is positive. There is a
Mhm.
reluctance to share because we don't know what that response is going to be. But you should just stand on it, right? And like my son says, stand on business. I'm like, okay, y'all, he's 14, and you know how terminology
Well, he
goes.
knows.
Yeah, but he told me, he's like, because I said, stand on your business. He said, it's not your. I don't say your in it. I'm like, oh, stand on your business. Or stand on your business. He's like, no. I'm like, okay, stand
Oh
on
yeah,
business.
that's right.
He's like, forget it. He just said, forget it. Stop trying. You're trying too hard.
Mhm.
But if we understand what we're doing, how we're doing, and the benefit as to why the person would, need your services, I think that's important for people to understand and to give more of the benefits. Why is that? And this can work for business, this can work in your career, it can work in as a community leader,
Mhm.
whatever position or role you're playing in. You can always go back to, okay, here's my whys, here's what I do, and here's the results of what I do, right? And that's all in the branding. And so that's the other space that I am in, is the personal branding. And the personal branding is really you. What do you,
Mhm.
you bring to the table, and what are your skills, your talents, so that you can set yourself to be successful. And then Glenroy has a question or a statement here again. Being the smartest person in the room is a lonely space. Understanding that we don't, it is, it really is. Understanding that we don't have to know everything in the midst of or on the way to success is key.
So
Yes.
I'm taking it, Glenn Roy. You must have been that only person in the room because I remember back in the day being in certain spaces where someone would ask a question, especially like leadership classes or you're out at a conference or something. But I will tell you, I was at a conference and I'm raising my hand because there's nothing worse than a speaker or a person who's trying to interact with the audience and you get crickets.
Yeah.
Therefore, because I am a speaker and I understand that piece of it, I would try to answer a question. And because I did that once and I feel like, yeah, I'm the smartest person in this room. And I was okay with it because I ended up meeting someone who ended up being my mentor. So sometimes it works, but in a lot of cases, I understand what you're saying, that it could be a lonely space.
Yeah. It could be.
But
And
still,
nobody
you
gets to
have to
be by
own it.
themselves.
You have to
Yeah.
own it. If you're the smartest one in there, own that intellect and be okay with it.
Oh my gosh. Well, we are at the top of the hour, y'all. And I just want to thank you for being here. We had Dr. Watts, Kayron, Leslie, Joey, Chevy, Glenroy. Let's see here. They had Clara and um Dr. T was here. We got all the doctors. You attracted all the doctors tonight. And let's see here. Okay, I just want to acknowledge y'all for being here because again, you could have been anywhere else tonight, but you hung out with me and Dr. Beckwith tonight so that way we can have this conversation. And so I will leave you with the last parting words. What do you want to let's change this up, okay? I know that I sometimes can ask, the standard questions, but you my sister.
All right.
So, what will your legacy be? What is it that you want your legacy to be?
I would like for people to really know and understand that I did my level best to leave some footprints for people to follow and for people to be seen, for people to be heard, and for people to actually feel worthy about themselves and know that they have a space and a place. And that regardless of anything else, they are not what happened to them. They are who they are, and they are definitely worthy. And so, in that legacy piece of it, I would just like them to know that, you know what, they are important, they are special, and they have a place and a space. And so, that's what I would like for people to know. And then I'd like for my daughter to be very, very proud of me. And so, that she too can realize what her self worth, her value, and what her place and space is in the world. And that's what I would
Mm,
like.
I love every bit of it. And you're doing it. So, keep on doing what you're doing. Keep on making positive impact in the hearts and minds, especially of our women today. And just know that, you are inspiring, encouraging others. We are so happy and glad that you stopped in tonight, y'all, and just really shed some light on, what we all go through every single day is really trying to be the best versions of ourselves. And you brought in another doctor. So, Dr. X, all the doctors in the house tonight. All right. Y'all showed up and you're showing out. Okay. So thank you so much, Dr. X, for sliding on in here. We had a really great conversation. So if you didn't get a chance to go back, all right, from the beginning, check out this whole episode. All episodes are downloaded into my YouTube channel. Y'all can find it there. And so put in Slay to Success or Rochelle Hemingway, and you will see there's many videos. You can do a binge. All right. Why don't you just do a binge one day and just listen to all of the amazing guests that I've had on this show? And so I want to say thank you all. I will be okay Tuesday. Okay. It's just going to be me. And so I know y'all teleworking or some of y'all working and you need a little bit of that oomph. I will be here at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time just to show you a little bit about, how we can improve ourselves, enhance in all the things that we do. All right. And I give it to you because I'll be coming right after a workout. And y'all know what that energy can look like.
Still
They
being
don't want
overdrive.
it. Yeah, they don't want it. They're gonna be like, "Whoa, what is going on? Y'all got me in seduced state at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but at 10 a.m. that is prime time for me." So we're gonna check. We're gonna do that as a trial series, so that way we can, get everybody into a right mindset because sometimes you just need a little bit more, right? All right, so we are going to leave out of here, y'all. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you come back, put in hashtag replay. And as I always say at the end, keep on slaying until you can't slay no more and pick up that book. And it will be in the comments, y'all. I will put the link in the comments so that way you will have it. So thank you very much. And we'll see y'all later.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Rochelle. It was
You're
beautiful.
welcome. Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone, for your comments, etc. And I look forward to hearing from you as well.